tell us exactly where you are and where you are listening to KNR from. We just want to hear you and find out exactly. Right now, though, we are live. Let's check this out.
This is KNR. Radio according to you.
Well, the Department of Education is allegedly considering a set of radical rule changes for schools in South Africa, which will allegedly move away from gender norms in order to accommodate trans and non-binary children. A comprehensive rollout of unisex toilets tops the bill. In a document circulated on Thursday, a number of rules and regulations are being considered by the Education Ministry. The goal is to become more inclusive, but that means a lot of things will have to change as a result. Already there are murmurs of discontent in some circles. When they say this, they're saying some of the guidelines set out by the Department of Basic Education include schools will soon be required to provide genderless unisex toilets and changing rooms. Individual stalls, gendered bathroom signs, and more cubicles are touted as a solution. Teachers are to be told they must avoid gender segregating by splitting classes, lines, or groups into boys and girls. The provision of gender-neutral uniforms must also be made available to all pupils who require them. Dead naming will also be outlawed. This means that a student identifying with a different gender cannot be called by their previous name. And the guidelines aim to combat discrimination, but the topic is likely to spark an avalanche of debate. As of the more conservative political groups represented in Parliament, the Freedom Front Plus has wasted no time in raising its objections. Wynand Boshoff has openly questioned how unisex toilets can be enforced when many schools are still using pit latrines. His fears go further, however. According to experienced politician, he believes that this process will ultimately be harmful for schools and their communal identity. The proposal will be pushed through Parliament, will be welcomed by more than progressive types of South Africans. So we've yet to see that, but soon enough, there could be unisex or non-binary toilets in schools. This means that a lot of lines will then be blurred out in order to accommodate those identifying differently. Elon Musk this week outlined his plans to make the social media platform network less dependent on ads and filter out bots, announcing that the app will charge a fee of $8 a month. Twitter's current lords and peasants system, for who doesn't have a blue checkmark, is BS, he said. Power to the people, blue for $8 a month. The price will fluctuate depending on the country, proportionate to the purchase power parity. The blue tick will come with added benefits of priority replies, mentions, and searches. Good news that Elon Musk is going to levy account holders a monthly fee so that he can confirm that they are real people and not fake bots, Helen Ziller said. That will see number of Twitter accounts drop by millions, and it will also confirm that Elon Musk is committed to turning Twitter into a public town square involving real people, not digitally manipulated bot armies, adding value or volume to various nefarious agendas. The senior manager for legal services in the Office of the Public Protector, Niels van der Merwe, has revealed that the enormous legal bills, including the incurred by the office, affected the work of its investigators. On Wednesday, van der Merwe told the Parliament Commission for the Section 194 inquiry to suspended Public Protector Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane's fitness to hold office that the office has spent 147 million rand on legal fees in the past 6 years. With burgeoning costs, it obviously meant that other costs had to be curbed. This also meant that investigators were restricted from concluding or conducting investigations physically. They became unable to interview witnesses in person or to source the services of expert witnesses. He also said it also had a significant impact on training. He said it had affected the quality of investigations conducted and would have a knock-on effect on the quality of reports. He told the committee Cianego attorneys received the lion's share of the legal instructions, totaling about 55 million rand for services rendered from June 2018 to May 2022, with Advocate Dalimpo for receiving more than 12.2 million rand in fees. Cianego attorneys are attorneys on record for Busisiwe Mkhwebane. A 70-year-old woman from the United States of America cashed in big in the lotto when she decided to scratch off tickets she purchased in a petrol station in Newark, New Jersey. According to the Business Insider, the woman did not want to be revealed, expressed her excitement when she found out she was $100,000 richer. She claimed she decided to go claim her prize a week later, 20th of October, at lottery headquarters, saying it was her biggest win since she began playing in Delaware lottery 7 years ago. Business Insider reports that the woman decided to celebrate her huge win by buying 3 serious money tickets from the petrol station in Dover and discovered that she had won again. My best friend was the person I told about the winning 100,000, and she came with me to claim, the woman said to lottery officials. When I scratched the 300,000 winning serious money ticket later in the day, we just sat there in disbelief. It was absolute insanity. The friends made their way back to the lottery headquarters to claim an additional 300,000 top prize, her winnings for the total of $400,000, the equivalent of about 7.25 million rand in one day. According to director of the Delaware Lottery, Helen Keeley, congratulations to this lucky player on her unique double win. It's great to see our players bring home 6-figure prizes, and instant games continue to surprise people as the lotto spreads the money out wide. Did you know that cutting down a tree outside your property without following the correct processes could land you a fine of up to 60,000 rand? This, according to Jenny Moodley, Johannesburg City Parks and Zoo spokesperson, told Randburg Sun that while the publication was following up on such an incident in Rand Park Ridge, new residents in the area cut down white stinkwood trees on the pavement outside the boundary next to the road. Moodley said the rangers responded to the incident immediately. A culprit was identified and a penalty process has been commenced. Last month, we issued fines worth 246,000 rand for a number of incidents. There was no minimum or maximum fine, but we usually see between 10,000 and 60,000 rand charged. Even pruning trees without permission can land you in hot water. If anyone is aware of residents cutting down trees without permission from city parks, they should report to their local police station and Joburg Connect on 086 056 2874. Even if it's outside of your house, as long as it's on public or municipal ground, can't do it, man. You got to get permission. Can't just do it. Crazy how that works. Clarence Ford interviews Barbara Friedman about this and other trending stories. What we're talking about, apparently the Kusile power plant is kaput. You know, it's bad news for if the name of a coal-fired power station is trending on Twitter. Kusile is trending as people share the startling photo of a chimney at the plant falling apart. The chimney at Unit 1 has failed in 2 places. Eskom admitted on Wednesday, further adding to the unit that will remain inoperable for months. Construction on Kusile, one of the largest coal-fired plants in the world, started 15 years ago but has yet to conclude. Now, it says South Africa would not be experiencing load shedding now if Eskom's newest 4,800 megawatt coal power station, Medupi and Kusile, were working properly. This is the latest mishap at Kusile. Currently, only 2 of the 6 units are producing electricity. Construction began in 2008, and that picture looks really, really bad. Just to show you, Nje, Oguba, the damage that is being suffered so that Nati, we end up having to absorb that damage as well. It's very scary. Very scary indeed, because as the public, I think we have had more than enough of our fair share of this load shedding debacle. Well, that's put a cat among the pigeons. Opposition politicians are furious with the SANDF after it emerged that some of its representatives participated in a maritime exercise alongside forces from Russia. It's a move the DA has branded a terrible error of judgment. As per the information received by Shadow Minister Kobus Mare, SANDF sent a number of operatives to take part in military drill, standing shoulder to shoulder with Russians in what somewhat spits in the face of the alleged neutral stance that the ANC have taken on Vladimir Putin's war. Russia's invasion of the Ukraine has been widely condemned. Short of allies in the global stage, that the Kremlin has reportedly had to rely on artillery reinforcements from North Korea. It's a damning incident on the side of the history Putin finds himself on now. As far as the DA are concerned, however, there are more useful idiots out there than just Kim Jong-un. Marie, whose shadow portfolio covers the defense ministry, is now concerned that this perceived alliance with Russia could lead to an international grey listing for Mzansi. Now, when you're grey listed, you must understand that is not a good thing for any country, because that means sanctions are upon you. Sales of the pharmaceutical retailer Dis-Chem have reportedly plummeted following the uproar over its controversial moratorium that leaked. The document stated that white South Africans would be blocked from appointments or promotions within the company. Dis-Chem chief executive Rui Morais has confirmed that the sales declined following the publication of Saltzman's letter. Now, Dis-Chem became a hot topic of debate after the policy on hiring whites was leaked. In a letter to senior management dated 19 September, CEO Ivan Saltzman said or announced the moratorium, which includes external appointments and internal promotions. After initially standing by the memo, the company later said it regretted the wording and the tone of the memo by adding that it had been erroneously wide-shared. Trade Union Solidarity demanded confirmation from the group that the policy itself was no longer in effect. It gave Dis-Chem until Friday the 21st to confirm for face legal action. That didn't work. Apparently, that didn't work too well at all, because, it would seem like there they go again with losing sales, and people have obviously stood up and are now up in arms about what they have actually experienced. The Department of Water and Sanitation is expected to open a case against Jagersfontein Development on the September collapse of the tailing dam. 2 people died and hundreds of people lost their homes when the town was engulfed in toxic sludge from the dam. Residents say they found it impossible to pick up the pieces. They're calling on the mine to take full responsibility of the destruction. Human rights attorney Richard Spoor represents families affected by the disaster. He said the government has not done enough to deal with the problem. It is disappointing that there has been very little transparency on the side of the Department under Water and Sanitation, and there is nothing at all about what they will do to compensate that has been spoken yet. It is 25 minutes now before 10 a.m. Municipalities and some government departments owe Eskom over 50 billion rand. This was announced by President Cyril Ramaphosa while answering questions in Parliament. The president says this is unacceptable. A multidisciplinary revenue committee has been established to look into the matter. The debt that is owed by Eskom, by municipalities, as well as government departments, stood at more than 50 billion rand. And they say we've made it clear that non-payment for services is unacceptable. We've taken a number of steps to ensure the payment of these debts is recovered, he says. Ebisho. Proceedings in the Nelson Mandela funeral fraud case adjourned for Thursday. 12 senior government officials, business owners, and politicians stand accused of defrauding the Buffalo City Metro of 10 million rand. The state focused on the procurement process that led to the appointment of service provider who is said to have received the tender. Former Buffalo City Metro Chief Financial Officer Vincent Pillay was on the stand in Bisho High Court on Thursday. He agreed that according to the evidence presented to him, there were irregularities in the process of appointing the service provider. The state finally struck gold after it were going around in circles. Pillay agreed that the procurement process for appointing the service provider was flawed. He claimed that he only became aware of the tender requirements and irregularities much later. The state confirmed that the quotations were sent to the supply chain department before municipal officials agreed on the deviation process as a form of procurement. According to the Public Finance Management Act, or the PFMA, the quotations should have been sent to the services department or service department and not the CFO. Pillay agreed that the state's statement on the quotations were then sent via him via email and will hand delivered to the office. Pillay is expected to continue with his testimony today. Finally, and further afield in our beautiful continent of Africa, the ruling junta is also calling for prosecution of some 180 senior officials, as well as Guinea's president or former president, President Alpha Conde. Among them, but in his public letter, to the Attorney General on Thursday, the Minister of Justice took a new step because he targeted the former head of state. Among them are former Prime Minister Ibrahima Kasori Fofana and some 40 former ministers, such as Mohamed Dane in defense, Mamadi Kamara in economy, Mariama Kamara in trade. A number of presidential advisors under the Conde regime are also named. In total, the Minister of Justice, Alphonse Charles Wright, gave a list of 188 names, which some of which are also already in prison and others cited several times. Their accounts are frozen, the document said. And with that, we end off our moments in current affairs. More to come as the program goes. If you've just joined us, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Are extraterrestrial.